Hey YouTube. So I haven't recapped in a little while. Things have been kind of crazy, and I've been trying to get my trading together and so forth and so on. So I want to try to take a moment to bring you up to date on where I'm at with my $1,000 challenge and where I'm at with my challenges that I'm trying to get across the finish line. So let's get into it. Starting with what has happened with the accounts, let's look at the trend analysis. So basically, my $1,000 personal account, I blew it. And what happened was, I went into this deep drawdown in the beginning. And it's really hard to see the pointer, but the pointer is to the left of the atomic bomb that went off in my account. So starting from here, going into this deep drawdown, put me down in the $300 range. And I kind of floated in and out of trying to pull up out of the drawdown. And I got down to over here around $250. And I was just like, I'm sick and tired of this. So I kind of tried to YOLO it out of drawdown. And whenever you YOLO something, sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't. In this case, I did not. So that account is blown. I'm going to try it again, but my focus is going to shift to the challenges. Okay, so the challenges I've been struggling with as well. And as you can see, early on, I did really well and then sort of meandered my way into drawdown and kind of stayed around the $49,000 range. Picked up a little bit here and then kind of plateaued. Now, some of these accounts had hit their subscription renewal. And so that was this increase. I don't know if you can see it. It's right there at the top of the $50,000 mark here. So that increase there was not due to my trading. It was due to accounts renewing their subscription. And so that kind of started me over again. Now, what I'd like to mention about that is different prop firms will have different rules. I am trading with my funded futures and also Blue Sky. Now, what I did not realize was that, okay, the way my funded future works is you can have a balance on your account, and when your subscription renews, they will give you a credit. So you can continue to trade until you either pull yourself out of drawdown, or if you go into deeper drawdown and you lose the account, the reset is setting aside for you so that you can hit the reset at any time. The way Blue Sky works is you have to blow the account on the subscription date. It has to be basically totally blown. And then they'll reset your account. If you don't blow the account, you'll pay the subscription and you'll still be in drawdown. And there's no reset set aside for you. So that's a very important difference in the way they handle resets. So I had to blow those accounts before the subscription with Blue Sky, so that when the subscription was paid, then they would reset the account. That's very key. You can pay, and with Blue Sky, you can pay the subscription and still be in drawdown. And that's tragic. You lose an opportunity of basically starting over. with a fresh account. So starting from 8/22, then I basically have maintained. I dropped down. I moved up to $450,400, and then I had a loss. And I'm kind of nosing up as of today. I kind of nosed up a little bit. So these accounts are not in bad condition, but I definitely need to do a better job with risk management. So that's the current situation in terms of where the accounts are. I want to go over a few of the trades that I've taken recently. So to do that, I'm going to switch screens. Okay, on 8/29, I took a trade, and basically it was around 429. Okay, NASDAQ. I'm on the 1 minute time frame, and basically in this trade, I traded against the trend. As you can see here, the trend is moving down. Okay, so number one, that should tell you you should be taking shorts. Okay, and with this trade, I took a long. I took a long, I believe, because I saw this. Price was making higher highs and higher lows, and I thought that trend would continue. This is what we call a pullback. So basically, when you have a downward trend, maybe the wiser thing to do is to wait until it comes out of a pullback. And you can see here that price basically hit this zone. Actually, this is what Dave teaches is called a swing point. This is not really a pullback. So this is what we call a swing point. Okay. And I was trying to, and with swing points, really that's the end of a pullback. Typically when price reacts to the swing point, then it will shift price back into a downward trajectory and continue the trend that was established here. Okay. So as you can see, it did exactly what a swing point does. And then right here, you have a market structure shift. Okay. So the better trade would have been to wait till price reacts to the swing point to see what direction price is going to go. And the better trade would have been if this trade right here was taken over here, and it would be taken in, let's see if we can find a different color. It would be taken basically off of this zone right here, that zone right there, and then you would take the trade down, and that would have been a more successful trade. So that's what happened with that trade. Let's go to another trade. That's why I got cooked on that trade. Okay, this trade was a win, and the only problem that I have with, and we're looking at this trade, we're not looking at this trade. Okay, so the only problem that I really see is basically this trade was taken not in a zone. Okay, As you can see, I entered right at 937 on 829. I did trade with the trend this time, which is good because as you can see, the trend is moving. Oops. As you can see, the trend is moving down, right? So at least the trade was with the trend, but the right zone to trade out of was this little tiny zone right here. I got lucky on this one. This one did have a pullback here, but it didn't go into deep drawdown and it continued on. So I was able to close that trade with the winner. Okay. But trading in the zone is critically important. Dave teaches no trade, no zone, no trade. Okay. No zone, no trade. So kind of got lucky with this one. Let's go on to this one. The next trade. This trade was a tragic trade. Okay, this trade was tragic. So basically, with this trade, a couple of things are very important to pay attention to. This trade I took the trade right here. Again, no zone, no trade. Very key and important advice with regards to trading market structure. And this trade was in a bearish movement, okay? And typically new traders will jump in a trade when it's moving down. So this is kind of a rookie. It's kind of a rookie error, kind of jumping in as the move is happening, okay? You want to jump in when the move is setting up. So what I did was I entered the trade with 2 contracts, okay? And I had a sell stop placed right down here. And I thought this move was so strong that it would hit the sell stop and continue down. Maybe have a little bit of a pullback and then continue down. There's a fractal that's right here that when price started moving bullish, it just blew right through that fractal. Price tends to, and for fractal knowledge, you have to look at Dave teaches and his videos, and he'll explain what a fractal is. So it blew right through that fractal. So as price was coming down, I was in 2 contracts, and then right about here, I entered 5 contracts. It grabbed the 5 contracts and moved violently back up into the zone, okay? It blew through the zone. Now, here's where the biggest issue with this trade. Look at this drawdown. And this is what I call tilt. This is a tilt. I could not pull myself to stop the trade. The trade is violently moving against me, and I did not pull the trigger to kill it. This trade was extremely costly. This trade cost me almost basically $760, which in challenges is almost the daily drawdown. And basically I got really close to the daily drawdown. Now, I have not proved it yet, but I have a theory that if you manage your trades properly with risk management, they give you roughly $2,000 before you lose an account. My contention is that if you can manage to trade within $1,000, your chances of passing the challenge are better. And I've said it before, and I haven't put it totally into practice, but I think when I shift my mindset to I only have $1,000 and then base my risk on just $1,000, then my chances of succeeding are going to be better. Basically, kind of sticking that extra $1,000 off to the side and kind of ignoring that you even have it. If you manage your trades that way, I think you'll have a stronger chance of succeeding. But this type of trading here, there's no way they succeed even with the $2,000, because as you saw with my personal account, once you go into deep drawdown, it is really difficult to pull out of that deep drawdown without over leveraging, without taking more risk on than you can afford. I'm a big proponent on at least the idea of take trades you can afford. That, you have to figure out, well, how much risk can I take with the size of the account at where it is when you're trading. And if you try to look for setups that give you very economical trades, which means low drawdown or low point stop losses, then you will increase your opportunity to be successful. Last trade I'm going to look over real quick. This one was one that I actually won. And the only reason why I won this trade is because I went in the trade with one contract. I was looking at this upward movement here. And I was basing my trade on an upward movement. Now, this swing high was technically a fail, which tells price it's going to go down. There is supply and demand that's right here. Right here. There's supply and demand. I typically look at the down candles before 3 upward candles as supply, and the first upward candle between or before 3 downward candles. That's kind of how I supply. And as you can see here, that the price came down, hit the demand supply S&D candle, and then moved out of it. Okay, hit S&D and moved out of it. Over here is where the trade ran into trouble. Okay, so this trade took a violent move down. Now I was in one contract, and I understood what was over to the left, and that's something that I have to really work on. Is, am I looking left enough in my analysis and in my price action to understand what price is trying to do when it makes these kind of moves? So what it was doing was moving down to hit an S&D. Once it hit the S&D, it started to move up. Okay, and then that's where I got, I was basically saved by the S&D that was below. Once the price came moved up, came down. I entered 2 contracts because I can see basically you have a move up, you have a move down, you have a move up, you have a move down. So I tried to get a cheap 2 contract deal and it moved up. Okay. Once it moved up, I closed the trade because I was at $325 in this trade at that time. And that was really why take the chance on price moving back down. So sometimes you have to take what the market gives you and just be satisfied with that. Not expect price to just continue up because it NASDAQ is very, it will pull back on you in a heartbeat. And as you can see right here, that there was a pullback. So that was today, earlier today at 9:41. And that finished my day out for trades. So that's what I wanted to go over with you. Also, this trade, the trend, as you can see here, this MA right here, it's a downward trend. And another reason why I only entered with 1 contract is because I am trading against the trend. And when you trade against the trend, then my personal experience has been, and I haven't always done this, is go in low with 1 contract and see where you're at if the trade moves in your favor, and then get out as quick as possible because you're in a downward trend. So if you're in a downward trend, it's gonna pull back and then reverse back down eventually. So I wanted to try to beat that shift in the price action. I've made a lot of enhances to the spreadsheet since I began. I changed some things in terms of what I'm looking at. And if you look through here, we are in week 5. This is week 5 of since I started this journal. And let's kind of take a look at the scorecard. Okay. So week 3 wasn't too bad. You know, I had a few dubs here and draw. Week 4 was nothing to write home about. Basically, the performance was not that great. Yesterday was tragic. That was the 1 trade where I had the big drawdown and price was just moving against me and I couldn't seem to pull myself out of the trade. I call that a tilt. On 9/1 yesterday, one of the main reasons that I think I had problems yesterday is because I skipped some important steps. On my journal, 9/1, no entry, no mindset check. Okay, and then also, if you notice here on 9/1, I skipped my analysis. My analysis is right here. Okay, had I done an analysis, this was done after the fact. This was done today. Had I done an analysis, I probably wouldn't have ran into this much trouble. So I skipped 2 vital steps, and you can see the result. Problems. So note to self, do your analysis. Put in your time before you trade, because when you don't, let's see if we can take a quick look at this analysis that I did here. You can see clearly that we're in a downward trend. Okay, and this is right. This is at 2 o'clock. I think my first trade was on yesterday was at 5:43. Okay, so if I saw that, and look, I took all longs, and based on the analysis, I'm bearish. I am not bullish. So a few minutes of analysis would have told me take shorts, don't take longs. And also, this is a warning here. When you have flat MAs, and you can see both the short-term MA and the long-term MA are somewhat flat, that's a warning to be very careful. Okay, and this is on the 4-hour time frame. So yesterday, messed up, and when you mess up, when you skip steps, when you skip the process, you end up in the hole. Okay. Today, definitely did way better on price action. I did my analysis ahead of time. I did my mind check. I did my journal ahead of time. I followed the process, and this was a good day. So let's look at the accounts real quick. Okay, so you can see today was a good day. Profitability in these trades were very good. And here's a thing that I've included in my analysis. Based on my account size, and if I use a daily loss limit of 250 with my challenges, this will tell me how many tries I have until the account is blown. Okay, that's kind of an important thing to keep track of, because you want to know how far are you away from death in the account. Now, this 125 over here, this is right above the 125. That is, let me see if I can make this a little bit bigger. Okay, so this over here, this 125 is based on $1,000 account size. And I'm still playing with, how much do I need to risk? And sometimes my entries are not very good, so I need a lot of room. Now, what I've been doing, or what I'm trying to do now, is I'm trying to set up the first trade. In Trade they allow you to set a daily loss limit. When you hit it, you can say, well, like say for instance, if this was, let's see, need to calculate. Let's say if I want 3 tries, right? So basically that's $80 a try to get to. So I would set my Trade to shut me down at $80, okay, for example. Or if I wanted to take 2 trades, then I would say shut me down at 125. Once you shut down at 125, then you've got one more trade to try to pull yourself out of the drawdown. But once you hit the 250, it's a done day. Come back another day. One of the things that I'm trying to get myself to comprehend is, if you set your daily loss limit low, just come back and fight another day. Don't push it until you get yourself into a drawdown of $700 or so, because it's really difficult to pull yourself out of big holes. So I'm toying around with that. I'm messing around with that. But this is the idea. You want to give yourself a chance. In 8 tries, 10 tries, chances are you're going to win some of those, okay? And you can pull yourself out of any small drawdown. But once you start increasing, let's say we decided to use a daily loss limit of $500. All of a sudden, now you've only got 4 chances before you blow the account. That's really tight. So you want to make sure you take trades you can afford to keep your capital preserved, and maintain a mindset, well, $1,000 is really all I'm trying to work with. And if you do that, and you have a $250 loss limit, then this gives you a stronger chance of succeeding in the long run. Okay, that is it for today. And that's the recap and where we're at. So, life happens, accounts get blown, but the idea is learn from your mistakes, improve, and move forward, move on. It's not about giving up. It's about maintaining the commitment so that you can get better and get to that point where your accounts are funded or your personal accounts grow. That's it for today. Thanks for watching. Safe trading, guys. Have a great week.